Every time a new kind of machine learns to multiply human effort, the economy doesn't just grow, it reshuffles who is allowed to matter. And the pattern that ran through the steam engine, through electricity, through computers, is now running through AI. The sequence is always the same. First, a breakthrough, then an efficiency high, then a restructuring of power, jobs, wages, entire industries, and finally, a new normal that feels inevitable for the survivors. We are not at the beginning of that sequence anymore. We're somewhere in the middle. The first time this pattern showed its full power was in the Industrial Revolution. In the early 1800s, most people still lived off the land. Value came from muscle, animals pulling plows, hands weaving cloth, bodies lifting and carrying. Then, steam engines and textile machines entered the picture. In cities like Manchester, one factory with spinning machines could produce more cloth than entire regions of home weavers. Output per worker exploded. Economists call this productivity, more value created for each hour of human labor. On paper, the numbers were a miracle. But for the people in the middle of it, it felt like an attack. Skilled weavers saw their incomes collapse. Some smashed machines. Some lost the only trade they had. Cities filled with cheap labor working long hours for low pay. The economy was getting richer. Many workers were getting crushed. That's stage one of the pattern. A machine arrives that can multiply effort faster than society can adapt. A century later, electricity ran the same script. Factories used to cluster around a single steam engine. Then, electric motors arrived. At first, owners swapped engines and kept everything else the same. Productivity ticked up. Then someone realized, if each machine has its own motor, you can rearrange the entire factory. You can build assembly lines. You can standardize parts. You can make cars, appliances, and consumer goods at a scale that was impossible before. Output soared, costs fell, a consumer middle class emerged. But again, the transition was not gentle. Small workshops died. Crafts were hollowed out. Giant industrial firms rose, and with them, a new dependence. Lose your job at the plant, and you lost your entire livelihood. The pattern advanced to its second stage. The technology stops being a tool and becomes the skeleton of the economy. In the late 20th century, computers and the internet repeated the cycle in a different layer of reality. This time, the target was not the body, but bureaucracy. Spreadsheets replaced bookkeepers. Databases replaced filing cabinets. Email replaced secretaries and postal systems. The internet allowed work to be sliced and shipped across borders. High-skill knowledge workers, software engineers, financiers, consultants saw their value soar. Routine middle jobs began to disappear or move overseas. Low-paid service work grew at the bottom. Industries reorganized around networks and software. Entire fortunes were built on code and servers. Once again, new technology rewired how wealth was created. It did not ask permission from those whose work became optional. Different stories, same sequence. Artificial intelligence did not appear with a single chatbot. For decades, AI was invisible infrastructure, a set of mathematical tricks buried in systems that already ran the economy. Early on, it lived in expert systems and rule-based programs, advising doctors, managing inventory, playing games. Limited, brittle, expensive. Then machine learning arrived. Instead of writing rules, engineers fed data into models and let them learn patterns. Suddenly, AI was quietly deciding what videos you see, which ads get your attention, which transactions look like fraud, who gets approved for a loan or a credit card. Money flowed toward companies that could exploit these algorithms at scale. Data became a strategic asset. The gap widened between firms with advanced AI and firms without it. The pattern was there, but still hidden. Then came deep learning and foundation models. Now, the same kind of system can translate languages, recognize images, summarize documents, write code, and converse in natural language. This is the moment when AI steps out of the server room and into the labor market. A manager can look at a model and ask, how much of my junior team's work could be handled by this? A founder can ask, do I need 10 people for this startup or 3? And a worker is forced to ask, if this is only the early version, what will the next one do to my role? We have entered the stage where AI is no longer a narrow tool. It is becoming part of the design of the economy. Across these stories, it always have the same skeleton. Call it the 7-stage rewrite. Invention phase. When a technology appears that can multiply human output in a core domain, muscle, management, or now cognition. Denial phase. Most people treat it as a gadget, an add-on. Interesting, but it could never replace my work. Integration phase. Businesses quietly embed it into processes. Productivity numbers improve. Early adopters gain an edge. Restructuring phase. The technology stops being optional. Entire workflows, companies, and even cities reorganize around it. Displacement phase. Roles built on the old structure start to vanish. Wages flatten or fall in those segments. Anxiety spikes. Concentration phase. Those who control the new infrastructure, factories, grids, platforms, models, capture outsized profits and power. Stabilization phase. Education, culture, and policy slowly catch up. A new normal forms. For the next generation, the revolution is just how the world works. Then, the cycle waits for the next foundational technology. Different technologies, same sequence. The initial breakthrough is behind us. Denial is cracking. We are now accelerating into integration and restructuring. Firms are wiring AI into everything. Those who adapt see costs fall and output rise. Those who don't will bleed out. Now, we are seeing the edges of displacement. The value of generic knowledge work, drafting, basic coding, standard design, is plummeting. If your output is mostly text or basic analysis, you aren't safe. You are on the front line of automation. Above this looms concentration. Data and compute are clustering into a handful of massive firms. The pattern is clear. Rising profits for the owners, rising pressure for the workers. We've seen this before with factories, only this time the target is mental work. The pattern limits our futures to a few paths, not infinite possibilities. Scenario 1. Managed turbulence. AI replaces jobs, but slowly enough that people and policy can adapt. Workers reskill, schools and safety nets evolve, maybe new taxes appear on automated capital. Some jobs vanish, some regions decline, but the system bends instead of breaking. It's painful, uneven, yet survivable. Scenario 2. Chaotic compression. Adoption is fast and ruthless. Companies cut costs before new roles exist. Mid-level work disappears, safety nets lag behind GDP, and profits rise, but millions face unstable income and shrinking wages. The economy looks healthy on paper, while trust and stability quietly decay. Productivity climbs, the human cost soars. Scenario 3. Dual economies. AI deepens the divide. An upper class uses AI to multiply their skills and wealth. A larger, insecure class handles physical and care work that machines can't do, but that pays little. A thin layer of policy tries to hold them together. Even nations split this way, those who build AI and those who only use it. Not collapse, but a hard separation. Prosperity concentrated at the top, insecurity at the bottom, and a generation growing up believing that's just how the world works. There's one law we can't escape. When machines get stronger, the economy reshapes itself around them. Every major leap in technology has followed the same arc. First, some kinds of work become replaceable. Then, a smaller set of skills suddenly become extremely valuable. And finally, the entire definition of a normal job and a normal income gets rewritten. AI isn't breaking that pattern, it's speeding it up and pushing it into the core of the economy, where decisions, creativity, and analysis used to guarantee safety. The economic impact is already visible. Productivity rising, profits concentrating, wages separating. The numbers look good, even while many people feel less secure than ever. So the real unknowns now aren't whether the world will change, but how fast and how unevenly. We can't stop the curve, but we can choose where we stand on it. In the end, the question isn't whether AI will rewrite the economy, it's whether you will still recognize your place inside it, or be one more thing it replaces.